Welcome back to the lab, folks. So today we're going to have another mailbag video, and to be quite honest with you, I'm going to have to speed them up a little bit. So maybe beginning in March, I'm going to do maybe 2 mailbags a week before I can get caught up. I hope you don't mind that. I mean, they do seem to be my most popular episodes, so maybe it won't be so bad. Now what I got here, let me zoom out just a little bit. What I have here, actually I think you saw them briefly before. If you guys follow my channel at all, I did a review last year of five precision multimeters, and I bought all those at the same time. At the same time I bought these, and I was going to do a separate review on these. So it's time to do that. But in this video here, I'm just going to get them unboxed, and then maybe later this week I'll do a very quick overview. Like, these are kind of tongue-in-cheek. These were at the time the 3 cheapest meters I could find on AliExpress. I think most of them were under $4. It was one of those buy 3 and get free shipping sales, and they usually discount the price considerably as well. So I see right now the most expensive ones are around about $7, and I think you'll agree with me when we get into looking at them that it's worth that $7, and especially worth the $5 if you can get it for that price, the price I paid for it. Anyway, I'll be showing the prices I paid as we go along here. But yeah, let's take a look at this one here first. And they're all Aining meters. I think this one was the cheapest one by a few pennies. Now this one here, it's got some pretty nice leads. You know, other than the fact that they're tiny little banana plugs and they're tiny little probes on them and they're tiny little things in your hands, the material that the wire's made out of is not bad at all. So I count that as a plus. And here's the multimeter itself. It comes with a single sheet, as I think most of these do. This one has about 7 languages on it. It doesn't tell you much. It just gives you the very basics. That's the English right there. And it doesn't quite explain everything on the dial there. So one of the things it doesn't explain is this. Let me see if if we can focus in on this a little bit better. This little pulse thing here, I've got no idea what that does, and they don't explain it. Okay, so it's got DC volts, it's got ohms, it's got continuity and diode, it's got this strange pulse thing, it's got current as DC current, so from 2 milliamps to 10 amps. It's got transistor gain, and then we have AC volts, but the lowest value is 200. So right off we can see this is not a great little electronics meter. It might be okay in the garage. But really the idea was that these meters, I would look at them and see if they'd be good for a kid who's interested in looking at their dad or their grandpa or their uncle doing electronics. And that kid wants to get into electronics and they want their own meter. So you don't want to spend a lot of money on something that they may not continue on with. The idea of this is to see if any of these would be suitable for that. They've got to be relatively accurate. They can't be misleading. And they should be used supervised so that you never hook them up to the DC amps, because these are unfused. All 3 of them are unfused. So you need to be supervised with them. You don't want to give them the meter and say, hey, you should go check, see if the voltage on the refrigerator is right. That wouldn't be a good idea at all. Now this one here takes a 9-volt battery, I believe. And it is. And let's turn it on. See what the display is like. Okay, it's a nice, easy to read display. It has a little lightning bolt there to warn you're in the high voltage range. And I wouldn't put 1,000 volts on these. I wouldn't probably even use it at 200 volts. Anything here down's okay. But we'll have a closer look at that in the video coming out. I just wanted to get some of the preliminary stuff out of the way to show you what kind of ranges they have. Now another thing I noticed with this one here, let me show you, is the spacing here on the probe sockets is not normal. It's a typical Chinese thing, but the other 2 meters I believe are okay. Okay, so that's that one. We'll put that aside for the big shootout. Oh, by the way, this one is the Aining SZ308, and like I said, it is the cheapest one of the lot. And they're all 3.5 digit meters, so I wouldn't exactly call them high precision. All right, here's the next one. Now this one here, the leads look very similar, but the material they made out of is just the typical hard PVC material. So although they look the same, they don't feel the same. As a manual, it gets a sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 languages for this one. It does give you a little bit more information as well. All right, and the meter itself. Now this one comes with a tilting bail on it, but it doesn't fit into the case, like it just flops, which is a real annoyance. And I don't know if it's just this model that I have or not. I only bought one, and I only ever will buy this one. But as a tilting bail, it works okay. It's you know, this meter's so light, and on this slippery surface here, it's not going to stay put while you change the knob. So you're going to have to pick it up and change the knob. Now, as far as ranges go, this one has got very similar ranges to the previous one. I think they may even have the same chipset in them. A couple of nice things: it has a hold. It also has a visible alert for doing continuity, so that LED lights up. It's got pretty much the same current ranges, and it's only DC current. It's got the transistor gain, but again, I can't get a transistor to fit in there. It doesn't go up to 1,000 volts. It goes only up to 600. So you got, on the volts AC, you got 200 and 600. And then here you got 600 down. And here you have the ohms, very same ohms ranges. And of course, diode and continuity. Now, one of the nice things about it, oh, and again, it's unfused. Now these ones are nice enough to tell you it's unfused. One of the nice things about this meter is it does have standard spacing, although it doesn't like standard banana plugs that much. They're a little hard to get in, but they do get in there if you need them to. And what else say about it? Oh yes, it has this mode over here, which makes it infinitely more interesting in that it's a 1.5 volt battery test mode. And what it does is it puts a load across it. They don't tell you what it is, but we could figure that out. And you can see the amount of current that you can draw off that battery and then make a determination from your years of experience with batteries whether or not that battery is good or bad. But it doesn't tell you the voltage, it tells you the current. So kind of a weird little test, but I think it's a good one. All right, let's put a battery in this one and see what it looks like. It takes 9-volt battery just like the previous one. And let's have a look at the display here. Oh, nice big digits on this one. This is an easy read one here, that's for sure. It doesn't have the lightning bolt, so I guess you only get that if you go up to 1,000 volts. And well, that's this little meter. So we'll put this one aside for our little shootout. And the shootout is not going to be extensive. I want to do it in like a 10-minute video, all 3 of them. So what I'll be doing in that shootout is just racing through, you know, a couple of ohms readings, a couple of voltage readings, a couple of milliamp readings, and that's about it. Just to see where they lie accuracy-wise versus something that is known to be very accurate. That's basically it. Like I say, this one was a few pennies more than the other one. It is physically bigger, so and feels a little bit better in the hand than the other one. So it's worth the extra money, especially for that special battery test feature. Now this one here, I think is the best one by far, and I'll show you why. First of all, it's got a feel in between those two, but right out of the box you can see the tilting bail actually works. It's got 2 levels too, and you can get it back a little bit further. Again, this is pretty slippery here, but if we prevent it from slipping, you can actually turn the knob. So if it was on like the rubber mat that's underneath here, you could turn that knob. And here's the really nice feature is it's auto ranging. That's pretty phenomenal on a meter this price that you get something that is auto ranging. And it's got amps AC DC, milliamps AC DC, microamps AC DC, ohms, continuity diode, non-contact voltage, which actually works. I mean, are you kidding me, for a $5 meter? It's got frequency and it's good up to about 20 megahertz. Millivolts AC, DC, volts DC, and volts AC, and auto ranging. Now, one thing it doesn't do, and it should, is it doesn't tell you that this is unfused. So it says at maximum 10 seconds at 10 amps, excuse me.
A few moments later.
Scammers. I hate scammers. Okay, back to the meter here. What was I talking about? Oh, okay, I was talking about the features. It has a backlight and it has a hold. I'll show you the backlight in a minute. It's a kind of a funky blue color if you like that. But yeah, I prefer them to put in here something saying it's unfused, so you know ahead of time, not just saying, hey, 10 seconds maximum. What if you got 20 amps or 50 amps? It's not going to be 10 seconds maximum. It's going to damage the meter. So really saying unfused would be a nice add here. So let's put the batteries in. You can get to these ones without much fuss. Now to take AAA batteries. They're my second favorite. If you can't put AA's, put AAA's. And let's turn it on. Oh, very nice. Very nice. These are very legible digits. Okay, so here's the backlight. Hold this down for a couple of seconds, the backlight comes on. In any other modes, you can hold it and unhold it. It has auto power off. I don't know if there's a way to not have that. Maybe if I press select when I turn it on. Yeah, so there you go. You can defeat the auto power off by pressing select and turning it on. Nice to know. And yeah, so there, let's see if I can show you that NCV mode. Okay, so I got this cable. This cable here is plugged in. And it's live, so let's see if the works pretty good. Very nice little mode to have in $5 meter. Okay, put this one away for our shootout, but I think I know which one's going to win. Leave it down in the comments which one you think is going to win. This is the SZ303, and this one here, I think I didn't mention the name of this one. This is the DM850. These are dip switches. I think I got some of these before in a previous mailbag, where I showed you these, but I just ordered some more. These are the nice little compact dip switches. They're much more compact than the big blocky ones. I think I'm going to use these in replacement of the other ones. I'm not going to use the other ones anymore. We'll have to see how they go. The first project I used them in, but because they're so compact, they don't take up as much space on the PC board, just as the same space as an IC. The other ones tend to be a little bit fatter, so they take up a little bit more space. Next item here. What is in here? Bag within a bag within a bag. Triple bagger. Okay, yeah. So this is for charging a power station I don't have. And that's a story. That's a story. I'm going to do a video on that because the company that supplied the power station is really making me a very unhappy person. But yeah, this is just so I can take the solar cell that I already have. It's got a 5.5 by 2.1 output and putting it in, I've forgotten what these are called, but that's the plug I need to plug it in and charge it with solar panel. So that's what I got that for. But yeah, look forward to that. It's going to be a long. I'll keep the video short, but I just want to whine about. I want to warn people about this company. What are these? I got these ring a bell, but yeah, these are right angle banana plugs with the magnetic tips on them. For attaching to things, like especially if you're trying to probe something inside an electrical panel. That's the reason I got these, is for working on higher voltage stuff where you don't want to get your hands too far in there. So you can gently put these on there, and then you don't have to touch them, you don't have to hold them there. They hold themselves there. That way you can take your measurements properly and like a workman. We'll test those out in a future video to see how they really work. Doesn't seem to be much in this one. So this is a tip. This is a C245 and it's a 774 tip. So this will fit into my Fornisi HS2 irons. Now I have been using this tip here, which is like the little spreader tip, the little wedge-shaped spreader tip. It's not a bad tip, but it's a little bit bigger than what I'm used to or like. So I got this tip. And it is a that's the wrong end. That's at the business end. Here's the business end. This is a very small little chisel tip. This one is 0.6 millimeters across. So this might be a little bit too small. It'd be great for fine work, but it might be a little bit too small for general work. But they do have one, I think that's 0.8 or 1 millimeter across, which might be better for general work. But let's see if this one works in it right now. Just to see if it likes it. I'm not going to solder anything. I just want to see if the iron gets along with it and whether it comes up to temperature or not. Ah, yes, and it does. And it comes up to temperature pretty quick. Not bad. Oh yeah, I can feel the heat off it. Yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to do. All right. It wasn't a Furnace branded tip, but I'm glad to see you can use standard C245 tips in these irons. Now I better put this someplace safe. Ah yeah, these are just some teensy weensy little rubber feet for doing little project boxes, little plastic project boxes. You want to put feet on them so they don't slide around. And sometimes it's okay if you don't move them around a lot, and then you can use those stick-on feet, but if it's something you move around quite a bit, I found those stick-on feet can be convinced to come off. So I got these little ones to go on with a little 3mm screw and provide you with a little bit of friction to prevent your project from sliding around on you. That's all they are. These are a little do-all module. A charger, a protection module, and a boost converter all in one. So you put your 3.7 volt lithium ion battery on it, and then you take your 5 volts off it, and that's it. And it's a USB-C, it'll charge it, and it's supposed to protect it as well. So we'll probably do a test on one of these as well in the future. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Why buy one when you have 5 for 5 times as much? Actually, no, that's not the case. I think a lot of these things, when you buy one, you have to pay $2 for it. You buy 5, you pay $3. So, okay, I think this is the last package for today. Spare nibs for my flux dispensers and especially the solder paste dispensers, because I dispense solder and I'll leave it there for a couple of hours, and then it becomes plugged up. And these things are so inexpensive. Like if it's not too plugged up, I'll just get a little needle out and clean it out. But you know, sometimes they get really clogged up. Even if you put the thing back, put a cap back on it, put it in the fridge and leave it there, you come back to it a couple of weeks later, it's plugged solid. So unless you guys know a better way to do that, you could let me know if you do. But this is my solution, is to use some nozzles, and they're slightly larger tools than the ones that normally come. And I find them a little bit easier to work with. And that's what that is. Okay, folks, thanks a lot for coming out. And be sure to tune in for our little shootout here. Again, it's tongue-in-cheek, so it's going to be a quick and sloppy one, just to see if these meters are any good at all. And this one may be the winner. We'll see. All right. Catch you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.